So people in this country and probably around the world as well have this hive mentality. There isn't really a lot of individuality. People just kind of have like one belief system and they just put themselves in a box. Um, so recently I was on YouTube and I just had this one video recommended to me. Now they were voting in the House of Representatives on whether to allow men to pretend to be women and compete in female sports. This country's crazy. Anyway, so I normally wouldn't watch something like this because like I mean, I wouldn't watch Congress vote on something, but I don't know. Out of curiosity, I just clicked it for some reason. It was like a 1 minute video, and so I got to see how people voted, how the House of Representatives members voted. There's 435 of them, and they voted completely on party lines. Every single Republican voted against allowing men to compete in women's sports, and all the Democrats voted to allow men to compete in women's sports. So yeah, the Republicans obviously had common sense that none of the Democrats did. Um, and now, just because there were slightly more Republicans, they won out because it was over 50%. But what amazed me about the whole situation wasn't just, like, oh, you could say, like, oh, good, it's going to go up to the Senate, they'll vote on it. Yeah. Actually, I don't want to focus on that. I mean, it is true that this whole situation is crazy and that there are people in this country that think men can pretend to be women and they think that's totally normal and that it's not a mental illness. I do think that's rather strange. But what I want to focus on is the lack of individuality in this scenario. There wasn't a single Republican or Democrat that went against the wishes of their party. Every single member, all 435 of them, voted just like their party wanted them to vote. There wasn't a single person that voted against the wishes of their party. There wasn't a single Democrat that voted that this is stupid, that you shouldn't let men pretend to be women. Like all 200 plus of these Democrats just did not have any individuality. And of course, it's the same for Republicans. I don't think this is right, but it'd be interesting to see like one of the Republicans did vote to, the other way and voted like the Democrats. It would show some kind of individuality. It's just so suspicious that not one of them voted against the wishes of their party. So there's no individuality. So it's delusion of choice. We have you're just pigeonholed into two different groups. You're either the conservative or the Democrat, and people aren't really given choices. It's like it's just a division into two groups. There's no individuality. It's like you're either this or this, and people are just conditioned to think along those lines. You're either in this camp or that camp, and life is much more nuanced. It's much more complex, and it destroys critical thinking. That's really what it does. It's like there's just two types of thinking: either conservative thinking or liberal thinking. That's it. Like you're just one of these two things. When it could be much more nuanced, and there could be many more parties, and it just shows you like the kind of hive mind. There's just basically two hive minds, and it gives an illusion of choice. Because if there was only one party, then that would be like totalitarianism, right? Where you're not given a choice. So to create the illusion of choice, you're given two choices, but they're not really choices. They're both bad choices, really. Both parties are a bad choice. Just Republicans are maybe just a bit better because they don't think men could pretend to be women. That for that reason, I think they're a slightly better party. But in reality, as a Christian, you understand that none of these parties are actually good choices. But it just shows like the complete lack of critical thinking. So we have this on the politician level. So on the politician level, there's no individuality, and it just trickles down to us, regular people, that there's just no individuality. No one can argue against the status quo because they're afraid of getting canceled or bullied. So it's the illusion of like free speech and free thought. It doesn't exist because everybody's afraid of being canceled. And the reality is, I think most people understand that men cannot pretend to be women, and that this is all stupid and crazy. But since the liberals control the media, they've pretty much bullied people into thinking that this is what everyone else is nice and friendly, and they think this is the way things should be. Are you a bigot? Are you a jerk? Basically, they're just making everyone else to be a jerk. When in reality, most people, if you ask them honestly, would think this whole situation is really stupid. But the media can warp reality to suit the way they want, and it does not allow critical thinking, free speech, individuality. It's kind of like a lost art in the modern day. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. So yeah, I'll see you next time.